Okay, so this is the breaker switch. As you can see here, and I'm using wood here, and also it's dangerous, but there are two hot here. That's one hot and the second hot, okay? And between both of them actually is 240 volt, okay? And what you have here, okay, you have here one side with this side, okay, you can see it's a kind of a metal. I'm not sure if you see it. And there is another metal here, piece of metal with a lot of screws. This metal here, it's only for the ground. All the ground have to go and connect here to this piece of metal here. And this piece of metal here, which you can see here also, you touch it here, this is really the neutral here. Okay, and that is really the ground. Okay. Let me get you closer to the box that you can see exactly what's going on. So you can see here a bar. This is one bar, and you can see here the other bar here. Okay, so this bar, it's only for the ground. All the ground going to connect here. As you can see, this is the ground that comes from the electrical company here. Okay, that is the ground. And this ground connected to this bar. This bar have a lot of screws. And you can see all the ground, which is an exposed wire connected to it. In other way, in the other side, you have another bar here, and you have another wire here. This is actually the neutral. This is the neutral coming from the electrical company, okay? And it's connected to this bar. And this bar holds the white, which are the neutral connected to. Remember, the ground and the neutral cannot be connected together. It's a very unsafe to do, okay? Now, if you see here, you can see two black wire. That's the two hot that's coming from the transformer. Between of them, there is 240 volt, and they carry, each one can carry 200 or I think 400 amps even. It depends really, but I think here in this house is 200 amps. Let me get it a little bit higher that you can see what's going on, okay? So as you can see, there is a conduit here, and this cable that's coming from the electrical company actually contains four wires really. One, that is the neutral, two hot, and this is the ground, okay? So that's what you need to know. But what we need to know now is these two bars here that you see. This bar here, okay? That bar here, that's the ground bar, and the other one is here for the neutral. And there is two wires that I'm going to connect, and it's going to be connected to this. I've showed this switch here. Let me go down a little bit here, and you can see this switch. So this switch will be connected to this cable that you see here, and that's what I'm going to do. So my intention is to show you how to connect a 240 volt cable, okay, to the breaker switch. So this is the main switch here, the main breaker switch, and the first thing you need to do when you're doing electrical work on a breaker switch, you have to disconnect the main. So it's the first thing you have to do. Remember, don't be an hero. Okay, so I'm just open it, and you can see your switch, okay? And that switch was on, and I'm going to put it off, and that's it. So now I can go and start working on the issue. So now I can show you, you see, there is no voltage here, but very important is to test, to verify there is no voltage. I'm quite sure there is nothing here. So I'm using here a voltmeter, as you can see, and I'm going to see if there is any voltage here, because otherwise, even after you shut down the electricity, the main breaker, 99% it will work, but you know, sometimes there is a problem. So I'll put it here, and I will test it between this and this to see there is zero. So I want to show you there's a zero. If you look here down to this, okay, so if you look here, you can see there is a zero voltage here. There is nothing here between. So we are safe to start working really. Remember, I talk about this is the breaker switch that really needs to work. And the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to remove it here. I'm going to remove it, you actually pull it here, and that's it. So this is a, if you can see here, it's a Siemens 50 amps, 240 volt you have your two breakers in the same place. Okay, so 240 volt, you can see here, if I put it like that, 50 amps, and that's it, Siemens. I always use Siemens because I think it's a good one. Some people using GE, there is GE also, but I found that the Siemens is really reliable and lasts forever, and it's really react very fast. So what you can see I did here, and I just want to repeat, I just remove it, okay? And I want to show you what's happening here under from close proximity to understand what's going on. But remember, before I explain to you, this bar that you see here, that is the ground bar, and this bar that you see here, okay, that's bar that I'm touching my finger, that is the neutral. Okay, and there are two bars here, okay, this and this, and I'm touching now, okay. One of them is 200 and one of them is 110, another one is 110, okay, and between both of them there is 120, and between them should be 240 volt, okay. So I want to show what's going under the breaker, where the breaker really connected. So if you look here, you see what's happening under here. So let me show you, explain to you what is going on. Okay, you can see here you have two. If you look at my screwdriver here, you have 1 and 2. Okay, this one carry 120 between him to the ground, or between him to the neutral, and the other one carry 120, which means the potential is 120 and this potential is 120, and between both of them there is 240. So you can see here what's happening here when I put the breaker switch, two breaker switch, one of them connect to here and the other connect to here. Let me show you. If you look here on the switch here, you see there are two switches here. You can see one of them, this is the connection here, one connection and the second connection, okay? So when I'm going to put him like that, I'm going to take it and put it from here, okay? And then put it inside, okay? Press it inside. From here, you can see what's going to happen. See from here? Okay, what happened is one will go here and the other one will go here. And one will go here, sorry. Should go here, and the other one will go here, okay? So that will give you 240 volt potential between these two cables, okay? So that's what's happening here. So that's what is going on. So now I want to actually connect this cable, okay, that you see here. The first thing what I have to do, I have to go and cut it from here, okay, using a utility knife. Just remove the insulation here. Okay, and after I remove the insulation, I can actually go and expose some of the wire to connect it here to this cable, to this box. Okay, so the first thing we need to do, we need to remove the insulation here, okay? You can see it, I'm using utility knife, and I'm starting, you have to be careful with utility knife, it's very sharp. Okay, so here it is, already exposed, as you can see here, the wires, okay, and I can continue cutting it. Start to get exposed, and remember, when you work with stuff like that, you have to be really careful not to cut yourself with this utility knife. So you can see the way the wire look like, okay? You have actually 4 wires, one of them is the ground really. So you can see here the wire here, okay? So what I'm doing here, I'm actually continue cutting it, the insulation. You don't need to be afraid to cut the wire here, because this wire is, the insulation for this wire is so strong that it's going to be very difficult to hurt this wire. So see what I'm doing? Just have another small piece to cut. So as you can see here, we have the ground, the neutral, and the two hot, okay? So the ground has to be connected to this bar here, which is the aluminum bar that all the ground is connected to. Okay, let me show you from close proximity. So here we have here, okay, we have 4 wires, as you can see. Okay, we have the black and red, which is the two hot, the ground, okay, and the neutral. And I really want to concentrate now on the 2 wires here, the neutral and the ground. So the ground have to connect it here to this bar. Okay, it have to, because all the ground connected to this bar. And the neutral, which is here, have to connect it to this bar. This bar is actually for all the neutral, okay? And then we'll talk about it after that later. I'll talk about the 2 hot. But the first thing we're going to connect is these 2 wires, okay? The ground and the neutral. And the first thing what we have to do is we need to fit it properly. We need to cut it and fit it properly, okay? That it will be connected to this. As you can see here, one of these screws will actually have to put the ground in, and you just need to have the right length, okay? So that's what we're going to do first, and then we're going to connect the other one, the other wire. Okay, so I want to concentrate now on this cable, okay, the ground one. So what I'm doing here, I'm actually taking the cable here, okay, and I just pull it to see how much I need from this cable to use here in order to connect it to this screw here. There is an open screw, okay, so I can actually just measure it, okay, and I see, okay, that is enough. Okay, if you see here, if you're coming close, let's take you close to it. If I take it here, you can see there is a screw here. When I actually touch, there is a screw, it's open screw. I'm actually going to connect it. There is a hole here, I'm going to push it to the hole and connect it. So that's what I'm going to do now. So that's why I'm actually measure it manually, you know, to see what is the, how much wire of this ground I need in order to connect it. Okay, so I measure it and I see that's okay with me. I'm going to actually use this cutter to cut this wire, okay? It's a little bit tricky, but it will be cut. So here I have this wire, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this wire and put it here in one of these holes. Okay, so this wire needs to be a little bit straight, you know. Okay, and I'm taking this wire now, and I will try to push it into this hole here, as you can see. And remember, this wire can touch the box here. It's even better, really, because these boxes should be grounded. So that's the intention, really. So you see, I'm going to push it, and it's pushed here. Okay. And guess what? It's a little bit longer here, so I'm going to cut it a little bit. Okay, so I can say, oh, it's a little bit longer. I can take the cutter again and just cut it to fit. Okay, so now I cut it and it's actually going to be connected properly inside to this. You see, I'm going to use this screw here that you see, I believe, and I'm actually just lock it stronger and stronger, and it has to be tight, remember, that's very important. Okay, so this one wire is actually connected, and it's here. Let me show you from close proximity what's going on. So this is the wire that I connect. You can see this is the ground. You can see a little bit thicker, okay, because it should carry 50 amps. And it's going up and up and up. You can see it here. If you look at it, it will go up, and eventually it will reach here. See here, it's going to this conduit, that is the wire, okay, and it's connected to the bar here. Okay, so we connect now the ground of the 50 amps 240 volt to the box. So that on this neutral wire, as you can see, is the neutral wire, and where you have to be connected here. You see here one of this screw, because this bar, this aluminum bar, is only for the neutral, and you can see this is the neutral that comes from the power, electrical power. Okay, so, and you can see here many neutral here, all this white wire connected to it, so all of them three are actually going to be connected to each other here, and they will so this wire is going to be connected also to the neutral here. So okay, this is the neutral, and see what I'm doing here, I'm actually going and push it here to follow all the other neutral, okay? So I want to see how much wire I really need. Okay, as you can see, if I go from here, I really need something in this place, okay, until here. So I'm going to really use a plier here, okay, to cut it here, because I don't need more than that. And as you can see, I'm cutting this cable, and now I need to expose it, okay? And you can expose it by many ways. And one way is actually using utility knife, and the other way to use a special tool for it. So I'm going to get a special tool to see, to expose it. And you really need to expose maybe a 3/4 of an inch. That's what you really need to expose here. So I'm taking these wires, okay, and I'm using these tools. It's a special cutter that you can cut, and remember, I just need probably a 3/4 of an inch. Okay, and I just very soon we'll pull it, you know, it's a little bit tricky, but we'll get all of it. Okay, so as you can see here, this is the exposed wire, this is the neutral. So the neutral, what we're going to do, we're going to connect it to a hole here, in this place here, which I already have it open. Okay, and I just need to push it in. As you can see, it pushes very nicely inside. I want to see if you can see it from here. Okay, so this is the wire here, and here I actually connect it. You can see here, this is the way I connect it here. Okay, this is the wire here. Okay, here I am coming from here, and I'll actually take this screw and just tightly on this wire. Okay, this wire now it's here. Okay, and so we have now this wire, as you can see, the neutral is going here. You can see the way it's actually going to the conduit, so that's the white one. Okay, so we have now, until now, we connected the neutral and the ground. And now what we have to do, we need to connect these two wires. And really, these two wires actually is the hot. Okay, this is two wires that we need to connect. This is the hot wires. And we need to connect it to this breaker switch. As you can see, this breaker switch is a two breaker switch really. And that is 240, 50 amps. If you look here, let's see if you can see it here, okay, from here. So as you can see here, it's a 50 amp, okay, and now actually here, two breaker switch here, that you need to connect the wire. So really what's going to happen is, what I'm going to connect, one wire I'm going to connect to this hole, and the other wire I'm going to connect to this hole. You can see it here? So that's what I have to do. Just connect both of them to this hole. One to here and the other one here. That's it. Okay, so what you're seeing here, this is the two wires. So now I have to do the same measurement here to both of these wires, because they will have to reach here. So you see, this is the breaker switch. You can see it here. Let me take it down a little bit that you can see it. Okay, so this is the breaker switch here. Okay, and the breaker switch should be connected here, as follows. Okay, that's the way it should be connected. Okay, so I'll put it here just temporarily, okay? And what I'm going to do now, I'm going to measure these two wires, okay? So the first one I'm going to connect is the red. Okay, so you can see until here that's what I need, so I'm going to cut it here. That's the red wires. Okay, so I'm going to cut it here. And it's really need to be really, when you actually connect it, you know, you have to give him the freedom that he will touch this box, or this metal box of the electrical box. Okay, so you don't want to have very tight like this. You really want him to go here. Okay, so you have to give him freedom. Okay, so now what I'm doing here, you see, I know that I need a little bit here. I'm taking it and I actually just cut it with a plier, and that's it. So that's the first one. Okay, and now the second one, it should go here. Okay. Okay, so I'm actually holding it here and also cut it. See, I'm cutting it here. See, that's the plier, so that's it. So now what I have to do, I have just now to expose these both wires in the same way I expose them. And you really need maybe half an inch, no more than that, or 3/4 of an inch, exposing here these wires. After I expose them, I will connect them to this breaker switch, and the work really done, but we need to test if everything works properly. I want to show you it. So now I'm taking these, remember this wire, okay, and I'm starting to expose it using this cutter, okay, and probably I will do between, probably it's a 5/8 of an inch or something, okay, and after I expose it, I just need to pull it. See, just pull the bastard, okay, you pull it, that's good. So that's one, and that is the second one, okay, same thing. I'm going to use this cutter here, okay, and that's it, and now pull it. Okay. So you have the two hot. Okay, so now what I'm doing here, I'm doing a really trick. I'm going to take this one out, okay? You see, and I just want to show you what I'm doing, because what I'm going to do now, I'm going to connect one wire to this hole and one wire to this hole. Let me show you how. What I want to show you here, you see, I was mistakenly thinking it's like 3/4 of an inch, but it's not. If I put it here, you can see it's the maximum you can go until here. So what I have to do, I have to cut it a little bit, that it will go inside and will be inside. So that's what I'm going to do next. I'm going to take the cutter. So this one, let's see if that's it. That's the one I really need to use. And what I'm going to do now, you see, it's like a little bit look like. So what you have to do, I just want to close it like that. That's the way it looks. Okay. Let me show you again. This is the way it looks. You know, put it in, and here what I'm doing, I'm actually just starting to attach it. And guess what? You need to really attach tight. As you can see it's inside. Even I will try a little bit more tight even, just to make sure it will not release forever. And that's the way it's actually connected. So the same thing I'm going to do now to the black wire, okay? The black wire should be connected here. We have the same issue here because it really needs to be trimmed in order to fit properly. And that's what you really need. You don't want to see the exposed wire when you connect it. Okay? Now there is other way to connect it, actually connect first you can actually install this breaker and then connect the wire to it. It's the same thing actually, but For the demonstration, I just want to show what's really going on here. That you can see how simple it is to connect the 240 volt and when you actually want to make a new cable. So it's very easy to do it, and you can do it yourself, provided you shut down the electricity. And if you follow this movie, you will do it yourself with no problem. Okay, so what I'm doing now, I'm actually taking this wire and I'll actually trim it. So as you can see, it's been trimmed properly. You just need to just give a little bit of adjustment that it will go to the hole. Okay. And now what I want to do, I want to put it back here. As you can see, I put it inside here. And the most difficult one is actually attach it with a screw. Okay, so that's it. We actually connect that one inside. Now the only thing left to do is to put it inside, and let me show you how I'm going to install it. Okay, so let me show you. This wire is already connected. What we have to do, we have to install these Siemens 240 volt 50 amps back to the switch box. Okay, so we just push it in and then press it. You know, it's strong. You have to apply power to push it in, and remember, it has to be in. So that's it. So now you can see it from here, the way it's look. Okay, these two wires actually, they're too hot. And remember, there is no electricity. We're very close. We're very soon going to connect electricity. So the job is being completed really, but we need to do a couple of measurements just to verify if everything working properly. So after I completed the connection, I'm just turn on the main power here, as you can see. Okay, and let's go back to the switch box. Okay, so we're back to the power switch here. Remember, this is still off. Okay, and there is a voltage here, there is a power here. So you know what, I just want, by very careful, what I want to do here. I don't know if you see it. Okay, so you can see it now. What I want to check, you can see this one will go, it will go to 0. Okay, I want to check the ground, if the ground is connected. Let's be very careful. You can do it without power, but I have a lot of experience with electricity, and even that one is dangerous. So I just put it here and check here, and I have to put it to see if it is coming to 0. So what I'm doing, I'm actually touching the cable, the ground. Okay, and it's okay. I'm testing it just for education. It's definitely shorted, so we have ground. Very good. Now, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to actually put this voltmeter in AC volt to 600 volt. Okay, and I want to show there is no voltage here between these and these. This is 2 points. Okay, and why is that? Because the switch is not turned on. Okay, so I'm going to turn on the switch now, and now we have voltage. It has to have potential between this point and this point. If I check it, it should be 240 or 250 volt. Okay, it depends. So you can see 245 volt. That's excellent. That's what we want. So if I'm going to take this point from here to the ground, it should be 120, sorry. If I'm going to check the voltage between the hot and the neutral, it should be 120 volt, 122 volt, as you can see, and between the other hot, it should be the same, 122. And between both of them, it should be 245, okay, and 6. Okay, so that's it. So we tested it, and it's working. So now we go up to the outlet, and we look at the outlet to see if the outlet gets 240 volt. That's the most important. Remember, we connected the outlet to this, the outlet of the range or the oven to this switch. Okay, so let's see. Let's go and see. Okay, so what you can see here is the outlet, and in the outlet you have 1, 2, 3, 4. Between these two parallel holes, you have 240 volt. Between this is the neutral and this is the ground. Between the hot, one of the hot and the neutral is 120 volt. Between the hot here and the neutral is 120 volt. Between the hot and the ground is 120. Between the hot and the ground here is 120. So we're going to test it to see if it's actually 240 volt and 120 volt accordingly. And if it's so, that's meaning that we are probably connected, and we can connect the range whenever we need. Okay, so we put here the voltmeter and we test between this hot and this hot. So you can see it's 246 volt. I hope you can see it here. 246 volt. 247, 246 volt. Between the ground and the hot should be 120 volt. Let's see it. You can see 122 volt. Between both of them should be 240. See 246. And between these to the neutral should be 122, 122. So I hope you can see it, but that's it. So we tested everything here, everything is okay, and we can actually say the work is completed. Thank you for watching this video.